What's up, everybody? My name is Macro, and I'm a DJ / producer based out of Los Angeles. And today I have a crazy ass tutorial to show you guys. In one of my past videos, somebody left a comment saying that I should do a tutorial on sudden death. Not gonna lie, I was really nervous trying to attempt this because sudden death has crazy ass bass design and like super sick flows. I know it's been a while since I put out a video, but I wanted to make sure that this sound was as close as I could get to the original. So right now I'll show you guys what it is that I was able to make. If you guys like that sound, make sure that you subscribe to the channel, turn that notification bell on so that way you can see when I post the newest videos first. And if you learned something today, make sure that you leave a like on the video so that way we can spread the video and more people can learn as well. Before I get into the tutorial, I think that we kind of need to get into a sudden death kind of state. And what better way to do that than with his sick ass leopard jacket. Not gonna lie, this is pretty comfy, so I think I know why he wears this all the time. As always, I'm gonna have the Ableton project file in the description for you guys to download. And if you're not on Ableton, I'm gonna also have the presets available for download as well, so you can just drop them into Serum and you can play around with them. I also put my Instagram here if you guys wanna follow me. That's where I put a lot of updates on the new videos that I'm gonna have coming out. But enough of that stuff. There's a lot going on with this patch. I'm thinking this video might be a little long, but I'm gonna try and go as quick as I can and try to explain everything about it so that way you guys can learn the most from it. So yeah, let's just jump straight into Ableton. All right guys, so this is what I was able to make. So I think it's pretty close. I'm really happy with the way that it turned out. I was getting really close when I was trying to remake it, but I had to go onto Reddit and make a thread and see if anybody could give me some tips on like how to do it. And Reddit came in clutch. So thank you, Reddit, and all the people that, you know, helped me out with figuring out how to do this. So here's the patch itself. So yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of things going on. I put some macros on it. Shameless plug right there, macro. But yeah, a lot of things going on with LFOs modulating it. And then a lot of effects. So let me just fix this real quick. All right. So I'll turn everything off and we'll just start with the first oscillator. So that way you guys can get a sense of like where I started on it, you know? We'll turn off the post-processing. Already you see like OTT after OTT. But for the patch, the main thing that's going on is you're taking a basic shape. You're going to FM it to something else using sync as well. You're going to be making it like super detuned. Oscillator A, I used from analog basic shapes. I just kept it at the sine wave. And I made it super detuned and turned the unison all the way up to 16. So detunes all the way up here. And then LFO2 is going to be modulating the detune, so that way it's going from like full detune to like half detune. See that? You're probably not going to hear this if you're just playing this on your phone because this is a sine wave, so it's just going to be kind of like a sub. LFO2 I'm using also for the chorus pitch up here. So I put that up to 34, so it sounded like the same tone that he had on his track. -3 for the octave. I guess that's semitones. That's going to be +5. Also for like the MIDI, I have it on, I don't know, D major, D minor, whatever that is, D #2. So it's going to be like super, super low, but when we put the FM on it, it's going to give it that like higher tone to it. LFO1, all you have to do is just drag it and then you put it on the FM and onto the level. So it's going to give it like the push and pull. So for oscillator B, and I talk about this like all the time, I don't have Live 10. So I got the Live 10 wavetables just by like doing a Google search. and I went into basics and I put on sub 3, and then I kept it at a 0 octave, and then semitones I bumped it up to 7. So I think this is giving it like a 7th harmonic. Company talks about this a lot in his videos because you guys know I love Company. For the chorus pitch, I did the same thing that I did over here for oscillator A, and I used LFO2, and it's drawn just like this. Just make sure that with LFO2, you don't have it on trigger. You just have it as off, because like when the patch is playing, when you put it to trigger, it like comes back and it like makes this weird like clicky noise. So I just put it on off instead. For the chorus pitch, I put it at -5. So you can hear how it's kind of getting like that like that like whiny part of the bass. Also for these two, since we're using like detune and you know the unisons all the way up to 16 for both of them, if you put random all the way down, you won't have weird phasing issues also. And the LFO2 is doing the same thing that it's doing on the detune for oscillator A. So it's going to bring it like halfway, like from full to half. And then blends all the way down too. Wavetable position, that's at 104. And LFO1, it's modulating it so that way it goes to 12. And then sync, I put it at 1.30. So basically when you play with the sync, you're getting different tones out of it. So like the pitch starts to change, and 1.30 was like perfect. But when you start to move it, like you'll start to hear like everything has to be like on point in terms of their location and stuff and their positioning. Once I put all the effects on, then we'll start like messing with it. So that way you guys can hear exactly what it's doing. Also for LFO1, I put that on trigger and on 1/4. So then I also have noise oscillator. I put it on analog and did the pink noise. Pink noise is really good. Like it matches a lot of the frequencies that are in like the bass patch. So I like to use pink noise a lot more than white noise. And then I learned that from Excellent Sound 2. I always talk about them too. Those guys are awesome. Another thing before we get into the effects, on the matrix, when we, for the noise, when you put LFO1 onto it, with the level, it like shoots all the way up and it gets too loud. So in one of Virtual Riot's videos, he talks about how he uses on the matrix, he like switches the noise wherever it's at. Instead of the arrow, there it is. Instead of the arrow going straight from like just straight to the right, he switches it right here to left and right. So it goes from polar to bipolar or unipolar, one of those. But this is gonna make it so that way it's not shooting all the way up. So if you have it onto like its default, when you put the LFO on, see how the level is being shot up way further? We don't want that for the sound. So when you switch it to, you know, left to right, bipolar, unipolar, whatever it's called, now it's only gonna go up to a certain amount, which is this 100 mark. So I just took that down to 77. So now it's not like as loud as it was going when it was set to the other like polar mode. Like the detuning is like one big part of the sound, but another part comes from the Combs filter. And this, I have it going to oscillator A and to the noise oscillator as well. And with this, like you have to be like really on point as well with the like the positioning. So cutoff I have at 31 hertz, resonance 14%, pan I took it to about 54%. So this is going to make it just a little bit wider. Drive is at 26, damp is at 64, and then mix is all the way up. So LFO2 I used on the cutoff. I changed it a bit. It's supposed to be -7. And then the resonance is supposed to be at -9. So here's what it sounds like. And like before the effects and everything else, like that's the sound, you know? That's exactly what we were looking for. See, but then you put on the Combs filter. Like, damn, that makes the sound right there. Like, all we got to do is put cool effects on it and then post-processing, and then, like, we got it. So there's a lot of effects. So the first thing we put on was the hyper, and Company talks about this a lot in his live streams. Not live streams, it's just like his videos. He shows like how to use hyperdimension to give a little bit of width. So I just put down what he used, and then I just named it as Company Stereo Wide. So rate 40%, detunes at 25, unisons at 4, mix all the way down, size is at 2%, and mix is all the way down. So it gives it a little bit of width. So this is without. And with, like, it gives it just a little bit more, you know? It's not like pushing it like crazy. So with the distortion, I was thinking about using Bit Crusher. I tried it. It was like close to getting the sound there, like all the way that I wanted, but it just made it really weird. So then I just used Diode 2, and then I put on post-processing, and then put the high pass up, and then 1217 for the frequency, and 0.5 for whatever this little magnifying glass is. But yeah, so this is only going to affect the high end to it. And then LFO1, I mapped that to the drive and the mix. So drive's at 21% with the LFO at 26, mix is at 7 with the modulation, oh God, at 29. So it's going to give it a little bit of distortion to the high end. And then phaser was really important too. A lot of times people will use it to give it like that growly texture. This kind of gave it that, but with like modulating the frequency and having the mix not at 100%, it gave it a little bit of that, but not like too much to where it really changed it in the wrong way, you know? So this is without. So like, I don't really know how to explain it, but like messing with the parameters a lot, I was able to get it to like that point, you know? So I used LFO2 again. Sorry. I used the macro. That's what I used, not the LFOs. So I put it to the frequency for the phaser, and then I brought it to 33%, and I took it to 97 for the modulation. So it's not going all the way up, but you'll hear once I bring it up. There's his sick ass growl. Cool. Warp. So yeah, 33% is what I put it at, but like as you guys can hear, like it loses some of its quality, and like the feeling's just not there anymore for like the bass. So depth at 15%, feeds at 37, phases at 360. So that way I don't think there's like any phasing issues when you do that. And then I have it at 82%. And then next is multi-band compression. Again, Company's, you know, OTT compression up on the Serum effects, and mix is all the way up. Gain you can set to taste, and then threshold -20, ratio 4:1, attack 31.4. Oh God, I changed it. I wish there was a way to like Command Z the Serum effects, or like any little thing that you change in Serum. That'd be cool. Releases at 90.0 milliseconds. And multi-band, I messed with the bands just a little bit. So for the high band, I took it to 97. Mid, 114. And lows at 100. And like I said, guys, if you just want the preset, you can download it in the link below. But I was hoping to go through this to show you guys exactly like what every little thing that I did helps like shape the sound and get it to where it needs to be, so you can use it in your own patches, you know? For the filter, I had tried using combs again and reverb again. I even tried band reject, and it just wasn't doing the thing. So I put on all passes. I don't really know what all passes does, but it gave good results. So LFO1, I used again on there. Mix is 5%, bring it up to 26. Pan just stays the same. Damp was at 68, and it's going to go left and right, so like up on this little blue modulation line. So it's not just going one way and back. It's going past where the line is for the modulation and then coming back and forth. Drive is at 59, res is at 50%, going down to -14 on the LFO. Cutoff's at 440 and -7 for that. Oh God, what did I say? 440? All right, cool. Let's try it with the mix up. Oh God, guys, I forgot. I think it was like somewhere here. But yeah, as you can tell, like turning the mix all the way up, it gives it like this weird like ringing noise. So I didn't want too much of it, just like a little. So that's why we're putting the mix to like a certain amount with the LFO. So then delay, this is where it's going to give it like a cool like metallic type of ring to it, but like not too bad and not too much. So if I turn this all the way up, it's like, don't like it. So just a bit. And then you put BPM and link on, and then you take it to 1/8 on ping pong. And then originally, I think it's like this. You just bring it down and give it like a little slope or hump. And then feedback, I put all the way down, but then that's where you put the macro knob in. And I put it to 47%, with this one being at 100. So if you turn this all the way up, you're really going to hear it. Actually, you know what? You can't hear it because the mix isn't all the way up. So 26. So you hear that? Guys, I'm forgetting all the numbers. I need to stop messing with this. Okay, I'm going to mess with it when we're done going through the effects. And then reverb. This is from VR's tutorial about his reverb. Put it on plate, size all the way down, pre-delay as well. Low cut to take off reverb going to any of the low end for the sound. High cut 59, damp 28, width all the way up. Mix at 0, and then you use an LFO to modulate how much of the reverb you want going through. So if I were to bring it up, it kind of gets like drowned in the reverb. I think it's like somewhere there. I can't remember the numbers anymore going through it, guys. For the matrix, it's just going to tell you like everything that you put your LFO and modulations on. But global, and I don't know why I did this. I don't know why I did it to oscillator B. I didn't do it to A, so I mean, we could do it with 16. Oh God, that's too far. I mean, it still sounds good, like. I'll just keep it at 16. That's going to be for the unison on the, this one's going to be on oscillator A. I think it'll say it right here. Whoops. So yeah, oscillator B for the unison range and oscillator A. So that's going to help because we're putting the detune up so high and bringing it back down, and then we're having the unison at 16. That's going to help the patch a lot more. So that's it for the patch. This is like a doozy. There's a ton of shit going on. It's a lot to talk about. So like, I'm scared this video is going to be really long, but I'm trying to make it as short as I can for you guys. So next is post-processing. So basically with the post-processing, I'm using OTTs to bring the sound up and sound a bit better and kind of add like a little bit of distortion and some EQing. So we'll go one by one. So of course, company OTT, because it's awesome. Duplicate it. Brings it up a bit more. So what I changed on it was I brought time up to 1,000% and then 646% for the second one. And then I also messed with the multi-bands a little bit, I think. Okay, so I messed with it on their outputs. So this one was at 11.2 instead of 5.70. And I brought the highs down also. I actually think I want to bring it down here as well. And then for EQing, I did mid-side EQs. So all you got to do is change it from stereo, which is its default, to mid-side. So now the orange is going to be for the mid. That's going to be pretty much things that are mono. It gives like the sound its like girth, I guess. It's grittiness. And then when you switch it to side, this is going to be everything that's like stereo. I don't know, I guess M for mono and then S for stereo, even though it's like mid-side. So you can just draw out this curve. With the 7th band, I just took out like the bad frequencies in the area that hurts your ears. And then I just bumped the sides up a bit too. And then took it down as well for like that bad area. And then just did a cut for the high end, 18K and an 18K. So what we're doing is making room for like the sub and then also this like mid bass layer. And then next we have Serum effects. So with Serum effects, this is where I used like the bit crushing. So all you gotta do is switch it to downsample. I put it on post so it's only affecting the high end. And I drew this curve right here. And then I put on note latch so that way it's actually triggered and moving the LFO to modulate whatever it is that I put it on. So it drives at 38, 55 for the modulation, mix is at 0, but it's being brought up to 31. So it's just giving it like a bit of another texture, you know, with like the bit crushing. So that's pretty much it. That's all it is. And then just matching up to what he had. Like it's pretty close. I don't think I was going to be able to make like an exact like sound because he does a lot of crazy shit in terms of like post-processing and probably uses operator to get his sounds. But I want to see if I could do it in Serum. So I'm going to also show you guys this mid bass layer. I think I had to freeze it. My CPU was going crazy when I was trying to record this video. I've tried like for the past 3 days trying to record this video. My CPU's been going crazy. What is that at 26? I'll turn this up so you guys can hear it. Let's turn all this off. So I'm going to try and go through this real quick. So basically I try to use the same kind of techniques that I used for the top bass. And I did unison at 6, unison at 16 for A and B. I did an FM routing as well with sync, just like the other patch. Wavetable position, I put at 3 instead of 0. And it's going to be a triangle, right? That's a triangle wave. Analog. Went to basic shapes, kept it at 1, and then LFO1 I used to do like the push and pull. So you guys can see that right there. Use it for the FMing, the level, the wavetable position. And then LFO2 I used for the detuning, just like I did in the other one. And then I also use it on the coarse pitch as well. I think 14, there we go. And then Combs filter again, this time at, oh God, 43, -7, 15%, 39, drive 26, damp all the way down. Since this is going to be like more of like the like mid bass, I kept the pan at 50% and then mix at 100. Oh, and then also make sure that with LFO2 you put it on half instead of 1/4. And then trying to go through this as quick as I can, guys. Pretty much like same effects going on. Phaser. This time I used chorus. Used a Zomboy style chorus effect. Rates at 20 hertz all the way up. Delays at 0. Delay 2 is at 0. Depths at 0.7. Feed is at 21. Low pass frequencies all the way up. Mix is at 35. And then did the same trick with the delay. Multi-band compression. Filter, I used a Comb Plus. 137, 29, 36. This, I don't know what it did. It's filter variation, like 33, 34%, 50% for the pan, so just normal, and then 5% for the mix. And LFO1 is the one that is modulating these two parameters. And then EQing. So we're using the EQ kind of to like give that growly sound. And then I'm using LFO1 to control these guys right here, and then reverb. And since I didn't use a noise oscillator, I didn't have to go into the matrix to mess with it at all. And I did the same thing again with the unison. This should be a 6. And then macros for the delay, just like the other patch. And then phaser as well. This one's at 15%, while the delay's at 12 this time. And then I'm doing the same thing with the phaser, just like I did with the other one. So when you put these two together... Sorry, let me bring this back down. I think it was 26. So after all that was done, then I just bounced it out to its own audio sample. So now I can actually see the audio. I went in and I switched it to Complex Pro, turned the formants all the way down. So usually they're, I think, at 100, turn it all the way down. And then I just detuned it minus 26 cents. Yeah, cents right there. So that way it sounds more like his. And for the group of the basses, I just put on a reverb that does a reverb throw at the end of the bass hits. This is where I made like the rise for it right before the growl on the drop. This is just like a washout preset. That is right here. Bass claps, easy washout. Where is it? This is everything that's in it. Grain delay, auto filter, reverb, EQ, delay, and compression. I don't really know how to go into that, honestly. I found it on a tutorial. But if you download the Ableton project file, you'll have it and you can use it. It's really helpful. But this is what it does. It goes up. And then for the utility, I'm just using the gain to do the side chaining right here. Because I did some drum work. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's like everything we need to talk about this. And I'm really sorry if it's like super long. There's a lot to talk about in this. And if you made it to the end, I don't have a prize, but like the presets and everything is in the download link in the description. So you guys get to leave us something. So that's awesome, right? This was a lot of fun. Like, honestly, I didn't think I could do it. I had to go onto Reddit and make a thread and ask for help pretty much. And you know what? People helped. They gave me tips. If it wasn't for like just asking an awesome community, then I wouldn't have found out about like using the detune, going all the way from 100% and back down to 50, and just using basic shapes and a Combs filter, really. If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content like this and you learn something, make sure that you subscribe, turn the notification bell on, and that you also follow me on my Instagram, so that way you guys can keep up to date with me. Also, Sudden Death, if you're watching this, you're dope, dude. I'm not trying to like copy like your style or anything. Like, this is just for educational purposes, and I wanted to make just like a cool video. Honestly, like, I can't believe that the channel's like past 500 subscribers. You guys are awesome. Like, I get messages from you guys on my Instagram, and it's cool to talk with y'all about like production and like the next tutorial and like just really cool stuff. So shout out to you guys. You guys are awesome. If you made it to the end of the video, remember you get to leave with a preset and the Ableton project file in the description down below. So make sure you go cop that. And that's the end of the video. Thank you guys for watching so much. I really appreciate it. See you later. Till the next one.